Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos reveals being bullied. Going on TV opens the doors to the entire world being able to judge and criticize. When Joan Vassos was on The Golden Bachelor, she didn't receive a ton of backlash. During her starring season as the first Golden Bachelorette, though, she has gotten plenty of online slack, and now she's speaking out. Read on to find out what happened. Joan Vassos claps back at haters. Joan recently took to social media to address all of the hate she's received on the internet. She sat with her daughter Allison in her car and explained that she gets negative DMs regularly. Vassos even exposed the private messages from haters who've dragged the reality TV star for several things, including her appearance and her choices in men. "The bullying has shocked me, and I have to say it does hurt my feelings," she vented in her Instagram video. Joan also shared that she assumed that once she hit her 60s, bullying wouldn't even be an issue anymore. Her daughter chimed into the conversation, calling the critics miserable and saying that she doesn't think it's cool to come after her mom or anyone else. From the very beginning, when it comes to the online hate against Joan Vassos, it's been going on for months now. In fact, it started before The Golden Bachelorette even premiered. After it was announced that Joan was going to be the leading lady, people were furious. She self-eliminated in week 12 of her original season because she wasn't in the competition long, and fans got to know several other women much more than her. It became a confusing casting decision. Vassos is right in saying that viewers have been calling her out throughout the entire season thus far. In recent episodes, she's been accused of only being about the money when it comes to choosing her favorite contestants. Her future in reality TV. Joan Vassos hasn't revealed whether or not she wants to continue in reality TV after The Golden Bachelorette. Because she's been experiencing bullying, Vassos might not be interested in staying in the public eye. Nevertheless, if she does get engaged on the series, there's not much of a choice. Even if she declines the idea of an on-camera wedding ceremony, fans will continue to follow her relationship with her future partner in any way they can. If she does decide to stay on TV, there are a lot of options for more appearances. One competition series that many stars from the Bachelor franchise have been on is DGTS. In Season 33, Joey Grazietti and Jen Tran are competing against each other on the dance floor. Joan Vassos, the sparkling and resilient Golden Bachelorette, has always been the picture of grace, even amid the swirling rumors and complex relationships on the show. Yet recently, Joan opened up about a surprising aspect of her journey, a revelation that brought to light a hidden pain behind her composed smile. Joan admitted to being the target of bullying during her time on the show, a hardship she hadn't spoken about before. In a heartfelt confession, Joan revealed that her road to finding love in her golden years hasn't been all roses and romance. Beneath the glitter of cocktail parties and serene one-on-one dates, there has been a darker thread woven into her experience, one that's left her vulnerable in ways she hadn't anticipated. Joan's story, as she shared it, wasn't a tale of isolated snide comments or momentary insecurities. Rather, she described a continuous current of doubt and whispers among her peers that threatened to shatter her confidence. At 63, she had arrived on the show with the hope of finding a partner who would appreciate the mature, seasoned woman she had become. But behind the scenes, Joan says, she often felt the sting of judgment from others who perhaps didn't understand her intentions or her openness to a new chapter in love. In her own words, Joan painted a picture of a world where even the most genuine actions are sometimes twisted. "I would be myself, truly myself, laughing, dancing, just enjoying each moment. And there would be side glances, even whispers," she shared. "It was subtle, but it was there, and it started to chip away at me." For a moment, Joan considered whether she was perhaps imagining things or being overly sensitive. Yet, over time, she began noticing small comments from a few of her fellow contestants. ones that seemed innocuous on the surface but carried a sharpness that couldn't be ignored. Remarks about her age, her choice of clothing, her openness with the cameras, all these became fodder for quiet ridicule. Joan felt as though she was under a microscope, her every move scrutinized. As she shared her experience, Joan was quick to acknowledge the irony of it all. She was on a journey to show women everywhere that love isn't confined to the young, and that they should embrace their stories proudly. And yet, here she was, confronted by the type of judgment she had spent her life pushing back against. "You'd think we'd all have each other's backs," Joan admitted, her voice a mixture of bewilderment and sadness. "We're all here, looking for something real. And we're all of a certain age. We've lived, we've lost, we've loved. You'd think we'd be past the pettiness. But, well, some people just aren't." Among the instances she shared was an episode during a group date, where she caught whispers behind her back that cut deeper than she expected. "I overheard someone talking about how I was too much, or that I was trying too hard," Joan recalled. "I didn't even know what that meant. I've spent my whole life being told to be myself, to live authentically, and suddenly, here I was, feeling like I wasn't enough, or maybe I was too much, just for showing up as me." Joan's story took a more emotional turn as she opened up about the lasting impact of this bullying. For days, she confided, she felt herself slipping into the insecurity she thought she'd left behind years ago. Memories of schoolyard taunts, of not fitting into the cookie-cutter mold as a young girl, came rushing back to her, and she found herself wondering if she'd made a mistake coming on the show. "I was putting myself out there, really hoping that my heart would be met with kindness," she said, "and instead, I felt like I was back in junior high." It wasn't only Joan's spirit that was affected. The bullying began to erode her ability to connect with the others on the show. "I started to put up walls," she admitted. "Instead of being open, I felt like I was shielding myself, and that's not what I came here to do. I came here to let my guard down, to give love a real chance." As she grappled with the hurt, Joan found herself reaching out for support, finding solace in unexpected friendships that would help her regain her sense of self. Among those who stood by her was Chalk Chapel, who Joan described as a rock during the tougher days. Chalk was a breath of fresh air. "He reminded me to keep my head high, to stay grounded," she recalled fondly. It was the bond with contestants like Chalk that helped her regain her perspective and brought her closer to her reason for being on the show. By speaking out, Joan hopes to shed light on the often hidden issue of bullying in later stages of life. We talk about bullying among children and teens, but it doesn't just stop when we get older. Bullying can follow us into adulthood, into any environment where people can be quick to judge and slow to understand. The production team also played a part in helping Joan find a supportive space. After noticing Joan's emotional turmoil, they extended her time with a therapist and allowed her to take a short break from filming. During that pause, Joan took a breath and reconnected with herself, remembering her worth and what she stood for. And Joan, despite it all, is resilient. If anything, her experience only made her more determined to be authentic. "If I can't be myself, if I can't be real, then what's the point?" she declared, adding that she hopes her story resonates with others who feel the sting of judgment. Whether you're in your 20s, 40s, or 60s, you have a right to take up space, to be joyful, and to live without fearing the judgment of others. Looking ahead, Joan has vowed to stay true to her mission on the show. She's found new strength in her journey, a resilience that comes from surviving not just the trials of life, but the judgment of those around her. "I'll find love if it's meant to be," she concluded, "but I won't find it by being anyone other than myself." Joan's revelation adds a layer of complexity to her story and highlights an essential lesson for viewers of The Golden Bachelorette. In the quest for love, acceptance of both oneself and others is just as important as Joan faces the next chapter of her journey.